We come back with a trivia question. Prior to President Biden winning Arizona in 2020, when was the last time Democrats carried Arizona? Bill Clinton in the year 1996 come to mind. You are correct. Question is, will the state go blue again this November? Our Ed O'Keefe has become Mr. Arizona. Spoke with voters in that state over the last many days. So the key to winning Arizona, presumably, historically, has been Latino voters. Yeah. How many can you corral? How many can you bring to your camp? How's it going so far for the vice president?
Well, I was there over the course of the last 7 or 8 days or so, and there's a lot of concern among Democrats about whether Latino men especially may be slipping away from her for various reasons, as they were slipping away from President Biden as well. Encapsulated pretty well by a guy named Aureliano Dominguez, who we met with last week, and 100% registered Democrat, but a little skeptical. Listen to why. So you're a citizen.
Yes.
You registered to vote?
Yes.
Who are you going to be voting for?
Well, right now, as many Americans, I think, we're confused. But I'm a registered Democrat. But I'm not 100% sure. I mean, they promise and nothing has happened. So what's the difference now?
What more would you need to hear from her in order to get you to vote for her?
Well, there's so many things, you know, and the truth of the matter is that we may hear it, whether they do or not, who knows, right. You know, and it hasn't happened, you know. Right. But we really need something to happen to our Latino community. We need those people that have been here on the shadows for many, many years, and they work hard, they pay taxes, and they have a moral conduct, you know, to be able to be granted some type of status to get out of the shadows.
And they've waited too long.
Yes.
So, immigration. You've been telling us for years you're going to do it. You haven't done it. Promise hasn't been fulfilled. Plus, concerns about cost, which is really the big reason why Democrats are concerned, men especially who are Latino might break away, is they have real concerns about inflation. Look, they work, they drive to work, they're dealing with dollars and cents all day long, they're seeing it, and they're concerned about it.
You also spoke with a dreamer, somebody who's benefited from that initiative. What'd you get from that conversation?
So a guy named Angel, who in some ways matches what dreamers are, or who they are, those kids of people who came here illegally themselves, but who've raised children who know no other place but here as their home. Many of those dreamers now are in their 40s and have kids of their own. Some of them, though, are closer to Angel's age. And he really encapsulates the values issue that a lot of people like Aureliano, who we heard from, say, you know, these people need to be dealt with. They need to be given some kind of status. They've been waiting for too long in the shadows. Angel isn't in the shadows, but describes really the concern about this and why something has to be done.
Yes. So, I mean, being an immigrant, we view the world from an immigrant lens. We're always contributing not only to like state and local taxes, but to our communities in a myriad of ways. And meanwhile, we don't receive any public benefits, we can't vote, and it's just getting a lot harder to exist as an undocumented person here, as an undocumented dreamer.
And why is that, most obviously to you?
I feel like rhetoric has definitely shifted over time. Now, everyone is talking about the border. Nobody's talking about dreamers. Everyone's talking about how crime is coming in, how these are the people that are coming, but from what we see here in Arizona, these are family members, these are mothers bringing their children for the opportunity to work hard, for the opportunity to be successful, and for the opportunity to contribute.
So if Kamala Harris or Donald Trump called you tomorrow and said, Angel, what do I need to do about immigration? What would you tell them?
I would tell them that they need to protect dreamers, protect immigrant families all over the United States. These are people that have lived here for a lot of years and have already been contributing to the economy and to society, so definitely protecting them and not demonizing them.
Finding a way to allow those people to stay in this country legally, safely, will go a long way to assuaging the concerns and the skepticism that a lot of Latino voters, especially in the Southwest, have with the Democratic Party right now, not only at the presidential level, but at the congressional level.
It's another one of those battleground states that also has a high-profile Senate race.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a close one, but a high-profile one. Kari Lake, Ruben Gallego. How's that impacting the presidential race in your measure?
Well, to your point about it not being close, it's certainly not close by 2024 standards, and that it looks like Gallego may be pulling away by high single digits. Some have him at double digits, but nothing's won in Arizona by double digits anymore. So if he's pulling ahead of her, 4, 5, 6 points, which could conceivably happen, the hope is he's helping drag Vice President Harris across the line as well. But watch him especially. We focus on, we surmise about, we dream about the concept of split ticket voting becoming a thing again. He may be one of the few Democrats running for Senate or for governor in this country who see a significant chunk of crossover votes. There was one statewide poll last week that suggested as many as 13% of the state registered Republicans will be voting for him instead of Kari Lake because of how she's denounced the sort of McCain heritage version of the Republican Party in that state. It'll be one to watch, especially for signs that voters are picking from column red and from column blue.
Really close state races in 2022. They have a couple of congressional races worth watching this year as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ed O'Keefe, thanks, man.
Good to see you.